sung by friend Peggy Espinola.
Okay. Thank you so much, Rhoda. I am so thrilled to be up here again to sing to you. I had such a good time at the last concert. You were the greatest audience. So I was unable to write any songs for the last 12 months, really, until finally I was. And of course, the first song I wrote recently is called Ode to Jefferson's Ferry. And I wrote the lyrics, but Woody Guthrie wrote the melody, and you might recognize the melody. It's so long, it's been good to know you. And if anyone hears something really bad, you can just, if you're a musician, just say, Peg, time to retune. That's one of the things, my tuner isn't working well, and neither is my ear. So anyway. I traveled south from Mass to LI, bidding old friends and neighbors a tearful goodbye. The Holiday Inn put me up for a day, then to Jefferson's Ferry I wended my way, singing JF, I'm eager to know you. JF, I'm eager to know you. JF, I'm eager to know you. It took a long time, but the new building's done, and I'm going to make you my home. The movers they came and the movers they went. Day after day over boxes I bent, finding places to put all the things I had brought. My new friends helped out when I got overwrought, singing JF, I'm getting to know you. JF, I'm getting to know you. JF, I'm getting to know you. The books are all shelved and the pictures are hung, and I'm starting to feel like I'm home. 8 months have passed and I'm done with this strife. There are classes and concerts to fill up my life. I'm worrying less cause my future's all set, but the best of the best is the people I met, singing JF, it's so good to know you. JF, it's so good to know you. JF, it's so good to know you. I took a great leap, now I'm walking on air, and I'm happy to call you my home. I'm going to sing my other, then after that I was able to write a second song, but I am going to tune again because something is just totally off. So this is called Silver Lining. I really should call it Where Did I Put It? A problem I've had for a long time, but I have to say it's been worse since I'm here. I'm in a new place, even after 8 months. I don't know. So here it is. Where did I put you, you earrings I love? You were there in my dresser last night, in a cute little box lined with cotton so soft. You were there when I turned out the light. Could it be that I left you alongside the tub, or in my coat pocket instead? Pray, where are you hiding? Why can't I remember? What's this? Here you are on my bed. Oh joy, here you are on my bed. Now where are the keys that I hang on a hook every time that I enter the door? I set up this routine precisely because I'm misplacing my things more and more. The chances I'll find them are thankfully high, but the angst that I suffer is real. I've looked and I've looked and I've asked at the desk, what's this I feel under my heel? There you are on the floor by my heel. One could say it's because I am old that the trail of lost objects grows cold, but I'm starting to think that this memory clink serves a purpose more precious than gold. For each little drama enlivens my life, which though pleasant and lacking in stress, unfolds unfolds day by day in predictable ways that can get a bit stale, I confess. Indeed, when I finally retrieve what I've lost, there's a letdown along with hooray. So when next I misplace, I will relish the chase, and I shan't let it ruin my day. No, I won't let it ruin my day. After which I lost my wallet. And I wouldn't let it ruin my day, and I looked and I looked and I looked and I looked. And then I went out and I replaced everything, and I have not found it again. So it must have fallen out of my purse somewhere, but nobody's returned it. Who knows? My heirs may find it at some point. So there's money in there, by the way. So anyway. All right, so this next song, I'm going to unfortunately have to return. This is my organ recital for the night. When old folks get together, there's always an organ recital. Well, how is your knee? Are you going to have the operation? Not or not? Let me tell you about my last AFib, whatever. So this one, I sang Falling Apart last time, which was sort of a, blanket condemnation of aging. But this is just about neuropathy, and it's called neuropathy. Let's see. Okay, so this is correct. Okay. And some of you may be able to relate. It's a tingling and a stingling from my shin down to my toes. It's a numbness and a dumbness as if something in me froze. It makes me prone to stumble like I don't know where I'm at, and I may not even know it if you give my leg a pat. But don't try it. It's there when I am sleeping, and it's there when I'm awake. It's there when I swim laps or when I eat a piece of cake. It's my loyal blue companion whom I'd like to send away. The kind of nurture who gives you grief through each and every day. I got it from the surgeon whom I hired to fix my back. Now my back is so much better, but my foot is out of whack. Just a little complication, and I'm sure it's on the list. The one the surgeon read so fast I barely got the gist. I do recall one thing he said before he paused for breath. 'Twas that surgery can sometimes cause paralysis or death. So I really can't complain because I'm standing here today with just a little tingling that will not go away. So I'll add it to the list of ills my senior years have brought, and be glad that it's the only bad the surgeon's scalpel wrought. The sun is shining brightly and there's coffee in my cup, and it's time to get a move on while the weather's holding up. I actually, he made some kind of glitch. And that's why I have neuropathy just in this shin and foot. So the last time I saw him to discuss what had happened, I gave him a copy of the lyrics. He did not smile. He didn't say anything. He was like best of Boston. Watch out when you get the best of anybody. So that was the sort of generic part of my set. This next part is going to be more autobiographical, but don't worry, I won't tell you all the song. And for my next song, I am going to have to return again. Let's see, what does it say here? I'm going to sing a song that I did not write, which is Kiss is Sweeter Than Wine, and you may have heard that when you were young. It was actually written by Pete Seeger, but he used a tune that he got from his friend Leadbelly, which was actually a lament for a dead cow. But from that he wrote this beautiful song, which was the first song that I heard Peggy and Mike Seeger sing the night that I met them at a square dance. So when I was 14, Peggy was 16, and Mike was 18. Peggy just turned 88, or she is 88, which means that I must be turning 86 soon. And we are friends on Facebook. I'm one of her 5,000 friends, because she became quite a famous folk singer herself. Now, why is this not doing what it should do? Does not seem right at all. Sorry, folks. No, it's not too bad. No, it is bad. Okay. Unfortunately, this whole concert is going to involve more tuning than the last one did. And I also had to modify this guitar because my voice has dropped. So in order to play things in the keys that I was used to playing them in, I had to lower the whole guitar up one whole note. Anyway, so this is Kisses Sweeter Than Wine. And I considered that it was a template for the way I was going to live my life, which didn't turn out that way, but it's a lovely story. And some of you have lived your life more or less like that, and I think it's wonderful. When I was a young girl and never been kissed, I got to thinking over what I had missed. Got me a guy, he kissed me and then, oh Lord, he kissed me again. Something is terribly wrong. That is what's wrong. Kiss me again. Oh, kisses sweeter than wine. Oh, kisses sweeter than wine. He asked me would I marry and be a sweet wife, and we would be so happy all of our life. He begged and he pleaded like a natural man, and then, oh Lord, I gave him my hand. Oh, kisses sweeter than wine. Oh, kisses sweeter than wine. He worked mighty hard, and me as his wife, I worked hand in hand to make a good life. With corn in the fields and wheat in the bins, and then, oh Lord, I was the mother of twins. Oh, kisses sweeter than wine. Oh, kisses sweeter than wine. Our children numbered just about 4, and they all had sweethearts and knocking at the door. They all got married and they didn't hesitate, and then, oh Lord, I was grandmother of 8. Oh, kisses sweeter than wine. Oh, kisses sweeter than wine. Now we are old and ready to go. We get to thinking what happened a long time ago. We had a lot of kids, trouble and pain, but then, oh Lord, we do it again. Oh, kisses sweeter than wine. Oh, kisses sweeter than wine. Someday I may just do a concert of all folk songs, because there's so many good ones. I know people who say, why should I write songs? There's so many good ones that have already been written.
Because you represent Jefferson's Ferry.
That's right. And because I like to. And I wrote and I sang folk songs from the time I was 15, and more than that, but I played guitar. I got my guitar for my 15th birthday. And all those years I was playing other people's songs. So I wrote my first song when I was 67. Yeah, there was, after a few years between age 14 and age 65, I went to this adult music camp. When I began to cut back on my work a little. Not just a little, though. All right, I have to tune again. So anyway, my life did not work out that way. I did have a first relationship in college that I thought was the one. And I wrote my name, Mrs. So-and-so, as though I was going to be that person's wife. But, it didn't work out. So this is called Blues for Number One. And I'm really playing it because I like to play this blues, even though it's the hardest thing I do. And my neighbors can attest. Before I moved where I practice, they've heard this a lot. I was 17 and a stranger to desire. I was 17 and a stranger to desire. Then I caught your eye and you set my heart on fire. I grew my hair long and sexy just for you. I grew my hair long and sexy just for you. And I learned to do all the things you told me to. I began to feel you were getting a hold on me. I began to feel you were getting a hold on me. You were squeezing out all the things I used to be. So I cut my hair and your love went up in flames. I cut my hair and your love went up in flames. You burned my letters and you scarcely knew my name. Well, I lost that man and a damn good thing, you know. I lost that man and a damn good thing, you know. Because it's not the way that love is supposed to go. That thing actually happened where I cut my hair and he burned all my letters. So I thought, that doesn't seem right. So now we have a major retuning. This is the worst retuning so far. Because I love playing the next song in this open D tuning that I learned from my wonderful songwriting teacher. And what happened was, here 21 was when I broke up with that fellow. And I met my husband when I was 26. So there was lots of time in between. And I won't go into all that, though I have no songs really about that period. Busy, by the way, establishing myself as a professional. And moving every year as roommates got married, and you had to reinvent your living situation. Some of you who might have been single for a long time might be able to relate to that. Now let's see, what should this one be? So I decided to write a song about my wedding day, which happened about 14 months after I met this wonderful guy, the father of Brown and O'Neill. And apparently this has resonated with people who said, oh, my wedding day was kind of like that. Maybe yours was, maybe yours. Let's see if this is right. I think that's going to be good enough. He was attired in a penguin suit, and I in a white satin for me at the end of the aisle as my father ferried me down. His eyes glowed with love, my heart nearly burst while the preacher droned endlessly on. I heard not a word, but awaited the kiss that would join me forever to run. Finally, the sentence I wanted to hear, now Ronald, you may kiss the bride. He lifted my veil and his lips touched my lips as our families applauded with pride. Next came the party, the fancy hors d'oeuvres, champagne flowed like water all night. Shyly we danced and he awkwardly led, trying to get it just right. A wedding is over in a matter of hours, a marriage is measured in years. There was passion and children and heartache and love, a medley of blessings and tears. But the journey I started that magical day with my Ronald, the gentlest of men, I will never forget and will never regret, and would do it all over again. Out came the cake, a magnificent thing, with 2 little people on top. I fed Ron a piece, he fed me a piece, till the cameraman said we could stop. Dad grabbed a fiddle and played a few bars, embarrassed me almost to tears. And Sophie corralled us and gave us advice, young Billy was drowning in beers. Trio played on as we stole from the hall to drive to Bear Mountain that night. We'd enough of the salmon, the cameras, the hugs to last us the rest of our life. We were both pretty drunk, but we made it all right. The path to the cabin was steep. We admired each other, lay down on the bed, and fell into a deep dreamless sleep. A wedding is over in a matter of hours, a marriage is measured in years. There was passion and children and heartache and love, a medley of blessings and tears. But the journey I started that magical day with my Ronald, the gentlest of men, I will never forget and will never regret, and I do it all over again. So then comes the marriage, right? And all that stuff I mentioned. So I did write a little song. This was early on, like the 2nd year of my songwriting. And I let's see what this is going to be. I based it on a hook. This was I had a new teacher, and she said, well, you should carry a book around with you, a little notebook, and whenever you think of a phrase or something like that that could possibly become a song, write it down. And in fact, in that class, which was just a week long, all these classes were just a week, so you write we had to write 10 hooks, and the only one that became a song was the words Danish Modern, which was, in fact, what all of my furniture was, and was until, in fact, I inherited from my folks a few pieces that were definitely not Danish Modern, but everything else is. And so I kind of made that a metaphor. Okay, I think we're okay here. Let's see. That's good enough. Okay. And some of this is hyperbole or whatever, imagination, some of it's real. The first part is all real. I bought the couch in '65, the year that we did marry. Then we bought a bed and a table too, all the debt that we could carry. so firm and so forgiving. It was chic and trim and it fit right in with the dreams that we were living. First came a son and a house and land, a daughter soon thereafter. There were quarrels and fights and tender nights, and the house was filled with laughter. Here's to Danish modern, so firm and so forgiving. It was chic and trim and it fit right in with the dreams that we were living. The years rolled on with work and song, pain and joy in equal measure. The kids got big and they grabbed the couch to try out teenage pleasure. Here's to Danish modern, so firm and so forgiving. It was chic and trim and it fit right in with the dreams that we were living. I'm widowed now and the kids are gone. They moved to New York City. The couch and I have faded some, but still we need no pity. I put us both to uses, new joys I'm running after. The family grew on holidays, the house it rings with laughter. Here's to Danish modern, so firm and so forgiving. It was chic and trim and it fit right in with the dreams that we were living. Here's to Danish modern, so soft and so forgiving. It's chic and trim and it fits right in with the dreams that I am living. It's no longer soft because I couldn't stand it anymore. It was like a dust bucket. You couldn't get it clean. So, I don't know how many years ago I covered it in leather, which unfortunately is much less comfortable than it was. But I don't have to vacuum it, or nobody has to vacuum it. And it's in my apartment. If anyone wants to see it, it's beautiful. And it's very good for sitting on and watching TV. It's like 108 inches. So, yeah, I had to wait for the new construction to get a house, get an apartment that's big enough for it. So actually, the years moved on with work and song, but after that, they moved on with work and work. And I did lose my husband he was 49, I was 49, after 21 years of marriage. So that was very sad, obviously. And there was a long period of mourning. And then I decided I really did not want to be alone for the rest of my life. So I started dating. And I tried dating services, and I was actually told when I reached 50, well, I started after 50, so that I was too old, that men from my generation, which was the baby bus generation, were few in number, and they had all of the baby boomer generation to look, for dates. That's not right. So dating services stopped. I couldn't use them anymore. So then you go into personal ads. It was before the internet got really hot on that. So I wrote this song in 2006. I guess the internet was, but I was referring back to an earlier time. This is called The Last Bad Date. And I actually had what I call the last bad date in just before 9/11. So it was 2001. So that wasn't that long before it. I could certainly remember it very well. Right. I saw his ad on the personals page. He was single and a Jew like me. A doctor, he was just my age. It was too good to be true. I rang the paper, left my number, waited for his call. In a couple of days we'd made it. It took no time at all. And in the intervening hours until the weekend came, my future, it seemed rosy bright, though I did not know his name. We met at Pizza Newton Center. It was close to him. He was seated with a glass of water filled right to the brim. His shirt was open, thick gold chain, it shone upon his chest. I smiled bravely and determined I would do my best. For Jewish doctors, after all, don't grow on every tree. I placed my order, he stayed put while I paid for my tea. He talked about his job, his kids, his ex, and his divorce. He'd lost the kids to gain his freedom, and the house, of course. Now he could perfect his tennis workout at the gym. By the time he'd finished, I had heard enough of him. But he was first to leave the table and be on his way, and I was left to sip my tea and mourn a wasted day. This is all true. This date was but a variation on a single theme of disappointed expectations meant not what they seem. So do I go with if at first and try again? Or would it be okay for me to simply tuck it in? Give up the search for someone special, would it be so wrong? In friends and family find enough to sing a joyful song. My tale has ended, I can tell you, I gave up the chase. Immersed myself in work and play, met many a friendly face. I give myself to worthy causes, nurture kids and plants, and only rarely miss the music of that ancient dance. But if one day I happen on a man both kind and true, oh, I might deign to take his hand and join the dance anew. So when I wrote that song, it was 2006, and I was in the 6th year of what turned out to be an 8-year hiatus from dating. But then, 2 years later, in 2008, I ran into a person who had been, a man who had been a neighbor at one time, but they had moved away, and I kept running into him at folk festivals. I told you this story, I think, at my last concert, because he showed up in a song at that concert called Living Will, Living Well. But this is the story of our first date, because what happened was his wife had early onset, very severe frontal lobe dementia, and eventually, and she was happiest at concerts of this kind. Open air kinds of things, and I went to a Peggy Seeger concert actually. It was in the church, and she wasn't there, and I asked David where she was, and he said she had started to wander, and he had to put her in a nursing home. So then he said, will you go to dinner with me? And I said yes. Between the time we made our date and we had our date, he had purchased my CD online because the company told me somebody had. I figured out it was he, which means he had heard the song "The Last Bad Date," so he knew that if he misbehaved, it would show up in a song for sure. And the other thing he had done, I found out later, was he had talked with his rabbi about whether it would be okay to go out with me, considering he was still a married man. Though she had left him, a long story, they were going to get a divorce. The psychiatrist that was looking after her said she couldn't live alone. He took her back and took care of her for 5 years, gave up another person to do that. So I was so really kind of impressed by his story as much as anything else, but he was a lovely man. So this is our first date. I finally decided I wanted to write a song for him, so I think I wrote this that summer. He said, go ahead to your music camp. I know you love it. And while there, I wrote this song. And if you recognize the tune, apparently it is One Tin Soldier, which was a popular song, but I swear I never heard it. Maybe in the dentist's office, in the background. So I think we both borrowed from Pachelbel's Canon, apparently. That's what my songwriting teacher thought, anyway. But they never came after me about the song, you know, for the copyright or something. I agreed to go to dinner. He was pleasantly surprised. One who knows rebuffed too well from disappointment shies. He arrived with pretty flowers. I was pleasantly surprised. Here was something fresh and new. Sorry, this is a song I don't sing much. A man who really tries. He held the door to his Explorer as I quickly clambered up. Off we went to Cafe Flora, sumptuous meal to sup. Conversations flowed like water, gently down a whistling stream. And despite my anxious mind, my heart began to dream. His grandfather brokered wool, while mine in rayon dealt. Each amassed and lost a fortune, neither left much gelt. That's money. We traded tales of early struggles, tragedy and bliss. By the door we made new plans and sealed them with a kiss. Sharing legends of lost riches, friends in common, years apart. Love of family, music, sports, foretold an easy start. Prospects pleasant lie before me, yet I'm feeling in a bind. Do I let my heart embrace a gentleman so kind? What becomes of independence, self-sufficiency? I who found some peace of mind in living fancy-free. Can love bloom in aging bodies, throw off weight of years? Can I set aside my worries, conquer baseless fears? Flowers, dinner, shared remembrance, eager thoughts of sweet caress. I will gamble one more time on autumn happiness. Well, we were in our 70s by then. He was in his mid-70s, and 2 years later, he got some kind of bug while I was away down visiting my grandkids, and wouldn't go to the doctor, though. I told him on the phone he should go, and by the time he got there, he had sepsis, and he passed away. So that was, and I said, okay, that is really it. And that is a voice from the beyond saying, you know, that's fine. So a year later, which was about the anniversary of his passing, I was at music camp again, and I wrote a song. Again, this just does not seem right. Oh, I know it's wrong. So this is called, don't be misled by the title of this song, it will all become clear. It's called Trolling for Men, that's why I'm telling you. But you'll know immediately after I sing it. It's, and I used that crazy tuning again for it. And I wrote this that summer. I'm getting too old to go trolling for men. I haven't the heart to start over again. Too much trouble to find another best friend, the kind that you keep right up to the end. I've been lucky in love, more than once I admit, but the wisest ones know when it's high time to quit. I'm afraid of the pain, that seems part of the plan. The chance that you take when you love an old man. And I'm tired of the angst in which humans abound. I'd be up for a change, come the next time around. Come back as a plant, get it on with the bees. bird and make love in the trees. But for now there are friends, my dear family too. And it's hard to be sad when the sky is so blue. Summer days in the sun, winter fun in the snow, sweet memories of love, till it's my time to go. Precious memories of love, till it's my time to go. So that was 2011. And this next song was written in 2016. And you know, when you have lost someone, but you've moved on, but you never really completely move on. And certainly, I thought often of my husband in whose home I was still living, and by then I had wonderful, wonderful grandchildren that he never knew, of course, which was really very much too bad. So this song is called Letter to My Late Husband, and I wrote it one day when I was coming home from shopping or something, and it was April 1st, 2016, and I was listening to the news in the car, and 6 o'clock news in the car, and usually what I did, I'd stay until the news is over, then I'd run in the house and watch it on television. But this night, I didn't. I just stayed in the car and wrote this song. Because the song came to me, and when a song comes to you, man, you grab it. That doesn't happen very often. Usually I decide I want to write a song. This is the last time I'm going to have to do god-awful tuning like this. Okay. So, it was snowing, by the way. It was April 1st. One of those little funny things that happen sometimes. So, the wind whips up this crazy snow in April, which lands as tiny pellets on my car. The turkeys have begun their mating rituals, and I am wondering where the hell you are. The lover that I should have had forever, to hold me as we watch the evening news, discuss the candidates and global warming. It might have been less scary done in twos. You left us in the middle of the story. The kids no longer kids, but not yet grown. You didn't see them graduate from college, or take their things and go out on their own. We didn't get to have a midlife crisis, rethink our bonds and each begin anew. Of course I don't believe that would have happened, and we'd have aged together, just we two. So many things I wish that I could show you, the way I've learned to fix things on my own. The grandsons, one of whom looks very like you, the kind adults our children have become. The snow has stopped as quickly as it started, and from the yard and driveway mostly fled. The little blue star flowers that you planted are sprinkled far and wide beyond their bed. I skipped the evening news to write this letter and let you know, wherever you may be, that though you're gone so long, you're not forgotten, and in my heart you still belong with me. And in my heart you still belong with me. you still belong with me. I used to have, that was just getting cloud in my throat, but I used to have a lot of trouble getting to that song. Well, I have one more song that's part of this program, it's in your book. And that is about a different kind of love, and it's filial love, but going both ways, from father to daughter and daughter to father. Now, my father didn't plan ahead and go into a place like this. My mother died, he was 84, and within 6 months, as so many men, he was able to find a lovely lady. She was the widow of one of his cousins, so they had the same last name. And they could travel together because, you know, who cared? Who cared in the first place? And secondly, they had the same last name. So they were traveling to Kenya on safari when he was a young lad of 87. She was younger, she was 75. And she broke her hip, sadly, walking down a step or something. And they went to London for her to be operated on, and he stayed in a B&B or something nearby and visited her every day. Anyway, the outcome was he came home, he thought he had bronchitis, but it turned out he had TB, which ended up, this was several months later, affecting his brain. So he was quite impaired and also in the hospital for a long time, trying to get rid of the infection. And I had to put him in a nursing home near me. And he was there for 5 years. But unlike ordinary dementia, when they got off the meds and they really got the infection done with, his brain came back, except he was then physically impaired and he was still there. So he lived to be almost 93. And this was the first song I ever wrote. My songwriting teacher said, he gave these sort of Zen-like assignments to get people to open up and write. Tell me a song that you wish you'd written and why, and I did, and it had the stars in it. So he said, so look at the stars tonight and then go home and write a song. Well, there weren't going to be any stars because it was raining. But I looked up anyway, and this song came to me, this conversation I'd had with my dad toward the end of his life came with me, and I said, you know, I think that's a song. So here it is. This is for Jesse Robeson. My father was an atheist, he didn't believe in God. He would not go to a temple or church, he preferred to play in the sod. His garden was his temple, he said it was no sin. His tomatoes and his beans, his flowers and his greens were religion enough for him. Now I loved my dad, but not his ways. I had too many questions inside, like where did the good and the bad come from, and what happened when you died. So I left him in his garden, and to churches I did run. I tried a few and then became a Unitarian. My father lived a great long time, of ills he had his share. His garden was a potted plant he could tend from his wheelchair. He did not like what he could see as he searched the path ahead. So he thought and thought and thought some more, and this is what he said. I can't believe there won't be me when my days on earth are done. But I've done the math and there's just no room for us all to be reborn. So I think that I'll become a star way up in the midnight sky. And you'll be able to wave at me as I am passing by. So when I look at the stars at night, I think that I can see my father gazing down on us from his place in the galaxy. He never knew my grandsons, nor bounced them on his knee. But at least as long as I'm alive, he'll be alive in me. Thank you. You've been a wonderful audience. Thank you very much. And thank you for putting up with me.
was of the night, it really was. It was nostalgic, it was poignant, it was fun, it was funny, and I think we all appreciate it.
Well, the people
We
are...
all persuade you to do an encore.
All right. Funny, I'm prepared, just in case. So this song, this song is fortunately in the very same key. Isn't that wonderful? I made sure of that. Anyway, I wrote the song when I was 69. This is very important because that's before you have to take your required minimum distribution. And I stupidly started getting Social Security at 65, so I was cutting back. I was in private practice of social work, so I could decide when I wanted to retire. And this was the 3 a.m. song. I wake up in the morning at 3 a.m. and I'm worrying about something. Like the song about will I ever get out of my house that I sang last time, Toys in the Attic. But this one is called Rumination, and it's, do I have enough to retire? Enough to keep the wolf from the door? Can I call it quits at the office, or should I work a little bit more? I've got some money stashed in an IRA, Fidelity and Vanguard too. Should I keep my hands off until I'm older? What's a person supposed to do? I don't want to get a job at Walmart. Wish everyone a very nice day. Could I just reduce my hours and still get decent pay? Uncle Sam cuts me a paycheck. It really doesn't go that far. It would only be enough to live on if I didn't need a house or car. I'd rather have a little bit extra. Don't want to be on the skids. I'd like to leave some money to my children and some to my 2 grandkids. Should I sell my house in the suburbs, move into a trailer park, shack up with another old codger? I am really in the dark. Will it be enough for the movies, or will I have to watch each cent? I don't want to be a burden in my retirement. So many possibilities out there, better ways to spend my time. But life could really be quite dreary if I didn't have a nickel or a dime. Will I want to go to Foxwoods with other ladies on a bus? Put quarters in the slots for hours. Is that a life for folks like us? I'd rather go to Acapulco, snorkel in the ocean blue. I guess I better keep my day job for another year or two. And I did. I kept it for, I think I figured 15 more years. A little bit. I went way, way down. I had one client when I came here, Jefferson's Ferry, that I terminated with. So, and if I hadn't, I wouldn't be here. So I'm glad I had that little chat with myself. So, anyway, thanks so much for coming. Well, I don't know. I do have one more. It's a very short one. Are you up for it?
Sure.
Okay, the only thing you have to know in advance of this song, if you follow football, you heard about Tom Brady and Deflategate. How many of you heard about that?
Of course.
The New England Patriots. Okay, that was a terrible thing. He got a suspension, as indeed he should have. So I just mentioned that because it's mentioned in the song. And this is called Sunday Night, and it is really a trifle. But this really happened, and I wrote the song right after. It was cathartic. I spilled a jar of pickles in the fridge on Sunday night. I had to take the bins apart to get them looking right. And the fridge was clean and shiny, and I thought I'd climb the hill. I found that every carrot smelled like baby kosher dill. Now, kosher dills are nice, but you don't want them all the time. A carrot or a clementine can be a snack divine, so I scrubbed each sticky carrot, apple, orange, parsnip too. It took a lot of time, but then I finally was through. Now, don't you start to talk to me about Syria or Iraq. I miss my Downton Abbey, and I may not get it back. I know my trials are trivial, but they're my trials after all. At least I'm not complaining about the Pat's deflated balls. I like to put each song I write to some important use. So here's what I have learned from cleaning up that pickle juice. When you go to put your pickles back, be sure the lid's on tight, or you may have, as I have had, a